Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to another edition of Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in the San Gabriel Valley of Southern California. That gentleman out there is
Skip Falconer in Los Angeles, California.
Skip and I have been ruminating. We've been dissecting. We're doing our CSI thing, right? We call this alcohol CSI, tequila CSI. And we are tasting and dissecting today Cambio Tequila. Cambio, that's a good name. It's a clever name. It means change. Changes, right?
Change.
There
is a change.
It's a change. We were kind of bamboozled and kind of confused by the Blanco. But this is the Reposado, and it's really bright for a Reposado, man. I mean, yeah. It's almost fluorescent bright. What do we know on the label? What's the ABV on it for right now?
It's 96. 46 ABV, 92 proof.
92. Okay, so it's a higher proof Reposado.
Yeah.
It says here on the label, aged in white Bordeaux, white Burgundy, and Chardonnay barrels. Holy shit, that explains the color. Did I just say that? Yeah, that explains the color. So this is a triple barreled tequila. That's a lot of work, folks.
Yeah, it says it says Burgundy or Bordeaux barrels, and then that's for 1 month, and then for 5 months in the French oak Chardonnay barrels.
And that's off the website, or is that on the back of the car?
That's on the POS we have.
On the POS, okay. POS stands for point of sale, folks. That's just salesman's jargon for a cardboard flyer, a sell sheet.
Yes.
Okay.
So there's no additives ever.
What's that?
It's no additives ever.
Yeah, it says no additives ever in big bold letters. But I love it when it says building on a 500 years of tradition, and those are the keywords I always, when they throw in tradition with innovation, or tradition with modern ways of making it, or whatever. I'm just a little skeptical. Okay, so we're gonna pour. Because it's a higher proof, I'm going to pour mine in my Stasso Jarrito we normally go for mezcal.
And I'm doing mine in my handy-dandy Glencairn.
The Glencairn, made again by Stasso. Again, shampoo bubbles, which again is, it used to be in the years past a really good indicator of what to expect. And as far as body, mouth feel, things like that, it is very yellow.
Yes,
I have lingering bubbles, which again, good sign for me. The packaging is beautiful, folks. I'm not going to lie to you. It comes in this is agave paper. It's very tactile. It's raised.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. Now, the labeling, you have to be careful. The labeling says one thing, and the POS says something else. It says método refinado. So not sure. Refined method, refining, as if your finished product isn't refined enough. Okay, but I'm not gonna go into criticism right now. I just want to check it out. What do we got for Legs and Tears? First of all, it's really brightly yellow. Okay,
really.
And we did get some decent Legs and Tears.
Yeah, and these are decent.
And surprisingly, Legs and Tears get thicker when, from a Blanco to a Reposado. If it's aged in barrels, you'll get a lot more of the natural glycerin or oils that come out of the barrel.
Yeah.
And the Legs and Tears on that Blanco were surprisingly very nice. It wasn't until I actually read the POS when I discovered that it is aged in Chardonnay barrels. So that's telling me it's a Blanco Suave. They're pulling it out of the barrel right before they have to call it a Reposado.
Reposado, yeah.
And that's legal. It's been done before. Spiro does it. It's called Lunar Aged. There's another organic tequila that does the same thing. I think it's called Luna,
Nice.
Luna Suave. I think it's called Suave actually, and that's also Lunar rested.
Oh, these are nice. These are nice legs and tears.
Yeah, those are pretty. Okay, good. So we're gonna get a decent mouthfeel. All right. God, spill some on me. Whoa. I think I put too much in there. I'm getting the same kind of barrel notes that we got in the Blanco.
The same kind, yeah.
They're deep.
They're just enhanced a little more.
Yeah. And not so much the alcohol like we did in the Blanco. The Blanco had a lot of alcohol in it.
Right. This is not, the alcohol is not that prominent in this one.
This was a lot mellower, but I love how far Skip has come, whereas with his olfactory senses, because he mentioned that there's a mustiness in this Blanco. And he was right. He couldn't pinpoint it, but there's a mustiness. When you say musty, you rarely think of barrel. I mean, you rarely think of something musty being in a Blanco.
Yeah.
Unless it's been settled in a barrel for a little while. So whenever you hear the word mustiness, usually it's referring to something that's an aged spirit, not an unaged. Supposedly, technically, it's an aged, but it's a Blanco Suave, so it's still considered a Blanco. Yeah, a lot of.
Don't get me wrong, musty doesn't mean that it's bad.
No. That was why we poured it in our hands.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, and then we reverse engineered it and went, oh well, that's what it is. They're aging it in the barrel, pulling it out before they have to call it a reposado.
Right.
And that explains the mustiness, the barrel that they're using. Which in that Blanco Suave, it was just a Chardonnay barrel. So they're calling this. You know what? Let's just dive in. You want to dive in?
Yeah, because the nose is not that much different from the.
It's very one-sided, so there's no complexity right now to the
yeah.
There's no layers to it.
I'm trying to get something out of here.
Well, like fruit. I think at the bottom I got a little bit of the wine fruit of some sort. Could be the Chardonnay. I mean, they're using some heavy-duty barrels, folks. The label says. Let me read that again, just so you know what's on your label, folks. Okay, read the label, read the neck tag. Aged in white Bordeaux, white Burgundy, and Chardonnay barrels. White Bordeaux, white Burgundy. To me, Burgundy's isn't that a dark red wine?
It's like a Pinot Noir, I think. It's a red wine.
White Burgundy and white Bordeaux. Didn't know there was a difference. I'm not a wine guy.
Not me either.
So here we go.
I'm like those Pinots.
Yeah, because your wife, she likes Pinot Noirs, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very much one-sided.
Yeah.
Very much wine barrel. So let's dive in, shall we, and find out what we're getting.
Yeah.
Okay. You first. You tell me what you got.
I got some vanilla, lot of pepper up front.
I got pepper in the rear.
I got pepper up front right there. But I got a nice vanilla and sort of a butterscotchy type of at the rear. And
Okay.
it went.
Here's what I got. Well, the finish is the same as the Blanco. That's a long finish.
Yeah, it's a long finish, and it's nice and warm.
Now, on the entry, I got a lot of pepper explosion.
Yes.
Not so much at I didn't get any sweetness in the front, but pepper all over. But as I did the retronasal, that's why I use retronasal. I got some of the fruitiness from the grapes. I got a little bit of grape fruitiness, not citrus, not green apple, none of that.
Mm-hmm.
More like grape, more like a darker grape. Okay. And the finish is long. Now it started to get a little spicier, like a little bit of the red hot cinnamon spice.
Yes.
And that could be because it's a higher ABV. Okay, this is coming as a higher proof. But I liked on the retronasal, I liked that I got more complexity than I was getting on the nose.
Yeah.
There was like another layer that opened up that I wasn't getting on the nose, but I'm not sure why. Because see, when you have a high proof, even a high proof like añejo, extra añejo, everything, it doesn't hide anything. It all comes up to you on the nose. And that's what's confusing. You can have a glass of Buffalo Trace. It comes at a higher ABV, or even Wild Turkey. You can have a Wild Turkey 101. You can smell that menthol coming up at you like right here, man. So it's surprising to me that at a higher proof, with all those barrels, I'm not getting more than one characteristic, one element of the 3 barrels. Now, granted, one of them is being aged longer in that barrel than the other, right? Isn't that what they say?
Right.
But still, you should be getting another layer of complexity.
It's about 6 months if you total it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one is longer than the other. I mean, they're only resting one a certain length of time, and then they're blending it with
1 month.
Right. They're either blending it or they're taking it out of that barrel and putting it in the other barrel.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how all their barrel management is working for them. I don't get it because I'm not there. All right. Let me take another swig. Can I?
Because I didn't get the fruity.
Try the retronasal. Try it.
Okay.
I know it's going to sound funny, but just folks, if you're listening to us on a podcast, it's going to sound like we're grunting. For me, on that second pass, I got more of the vanilla and the barrel notes you were talking about.
Yeah.
The sweeter parts of the barrel notes.
Yeah.
Honeysuckle. It's more like a honeysuckle. It's more that direction.
Uh-huh. Yeah. That time I don't know if it was fruit. I still get more vanilla.
Just all barrel. I mean, you're going to get vanilla notes whether you like it or not, folks. It's going to happen when it's a recharred barrel. It's going to be there. I'm assuming that they're charring that barrel a little bit, even a little bit. Maybe one of them.
One char?
Yeah. I don't know. Every distillery does it differently. Every master distiller does it differently. Right. But I get more layers. I get a secondary layer, a secondary aroma that I wasn't getting on the nose. I'm getting it on a retronasal. But you know what really gets in the way? The ABV. It's almost like the spiciness, the pepperiness.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, it doesn't, pepper at a higher proof for me. If you have like an añejo, an extra añejo reposado at a higher proof, it adds an extra layer of complexity. This time, it gets in the way. Do you find that with you, or is it adding an extra layer for you? What do
No,
you,
it's just adding an extra layer.
it's
I'm
adding an extra layer?
not sure that it's getting in the way. It's just that it's really peppery.
Yeah, but it's almost like for me, it's almost like the pepper gets in my way.
Ah,
Like it's like I don't want to taste the pepper yet. I
uh-huh.
wanted to. It's like all of a sudden the pepper overcomes the fruitiness and the woodsiness that I was getting on the retronasal. It's like, no, don't go away yet.
Yeah. And I'm getting more. I'm not getting as much fruit as you are. I'm getting a lot of barrel.
Yeah, the barrel's the dominant. I will agree with you there. The barrel is the dominant
Yeah.
aroma and flavor, as
And
well as
now,
the
I'm getting
alcohol
that,
by volume. What was that?
I'm getting that musty.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure if we pour, do you want to pour some in your hand just for kicks and giggles? Let's go. Let's just here. Let's just pour some in our hand and diffuse it like we did with the Blanco. I want to do it away from my keyboard because I don't need another computer right now. We're gonna diffuse it. This is we don't normally do a lot of this with tequilas that are straightforward. But when you have a question and you're not sure, wow, that's intense barrel.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a lot of heavy barrel, folks.
It's barrel.
Yeah.
It's
The last time I smelled this much barrel was 2 years ago. We were at a Skip wasn't there; he missed it. But we were Jim and I and some of the other TJs. We were at the San Diego Spirits competition, and they throw everything at us, including whiskeys and bourbons. And Jim said something. He said, "Man, this smells like I just took a face plant in a lumber yard," and that's what it smells like.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And
That's
it's definitely a
why I'm
wine.
getting all this barrel.
It's definitely a wine barrel, though. It's not a bourbon or a whiskey barrel. There's a definite.
No, not at all. Not at all.
And I know we're calling it musty, but it's not necessarily the barrel that's old. It's just that's the character of the barrel that we're getting. And it's way more pronounced than it was in the Blanco. So you tell me, Skip, what are we looking at?
Yeah. Yeah.
You want to give it one more pass while we're at it? Or are you done?
Me.
Let's just try one more time, one more pass, and then we'll make our decision. Okay.
One more. One more.
One more. Here we go. Mm. 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 Mm.
You know, that time I got some fruit.
See, and when I did my retronasal,
I got
more of the wood notes, like a little bit of the honeysuckle. I'm not getting vanilla so much or butterscotch. It's much lighter than that.
Yeah.
I would call it like a honey or a honeysuckle, and it's not as prominent. It's not the honey you get from a whiskey barrel or a bourbon barrel. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
But yeah, but only on the retronasal.
Yeah, yeah,
If you don't know how to do this, you're gonna miss it.
yeah.
Miss it. And you know what? The wood notes dissipated much faster from the Repo than it did on the Blanco, right? The Blanco lasts
Yes.
forever.
Yeah. 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 They're
It's gone.
yeah. Go figure.
Okay, let's give you the ins and outs before we sign off here, folks. Um, tell people what you got as far as the distillery number and the name.
Well, 1605. And I was looking it up, and it says it's from El Llano.
El Llano is famous was famous
Yeah.
as a tequila. Now, the new name for 1605, and I'm using the gnome list from last year, 2022, September of 2022. I have a more modern one, but I decided to pick this one, okay? The name of the company is now called Inulina y Miel de Agave. Okay? Esperanto Selección used to come out of there. Mala Sangre Querido, which I think I've actually, oh, you know what? I have Querido. I've had it. I know exactly what it is. Okay. And then this tequila didn't exist last year, but it does now. I know exactly where Querido is. Okay. The name Inulina y Miel, the only way, that's a dead giveaway. The only way, the in English is called inulin and honey, or agave honey, or agave syrup. The only way to make those, folks, is with a diffuser. Okay. Eric and I have had Querido. Querido is a brand owned by the descendants of the Romo family. It's a young couple of brothers. The Romo family used to own Herradura. They are making it with a diffuser, but only as a glorified shredder. And then they're infusing it with natural flavors like tamarind and mango. And so a couple of their flavors were not bad. I'm okay with that. I'm all right if you're using a diffuser and you're infusing it with something. Cambio, I'm not sure what sort of equipment they have in their distillery. I know that they have a diffuser because that's the only way you could make inulin and agave honey, agave syrup. You have a diffuser on site. So this is an industrially made tequila. What's the verdict for you?
Can my expression tell you the verdict?
Yeah. We did nominate it as a brand of promise in packaging because the packaging's gorgeous, folks. I don't even know if you saw that.
Absolutely.
It came in a box. You know, I've got the lid right here. I mean, they spared no expense in the boxing, the packaging, and the labeling. And of course the barrels. Those barrels, to source those barrels, it isn't cheap, folks.
Yeah, French oak.
French oak, and then they're blending it. They're either blending them together to get this, or they're taking the 6 month or whatever it is that they're doing, the one with the most age with it, and then they're taking it and dumping it in another barrel. So it's a lot of barrel management that's labor intensive. Okay, and yeah, they can say that they're not they're not using additives. I believe that they're not. Not when you've got that many barrels. But is it any good? What's our price point? Skip, do you have a price on the Repo at all?
The
Does it
Repo, I couldn't find the price for the Repo.
Okay. So we don't know. What was the Blanco priced at?
The Blanco was 50, so Repo's probably 55, 60.
Yeah. Yeah, probably within $5.
Yeah.
And that should tell you a lot because agave prices have gone up. And any tequilas that are reputable out there, their Blancos are starting at 50 now. And that's a reasonable price for a traditionally made Blanco. But this is not a traditionally made Blanco because they're adding innovation on top of the 500 years of, whatever.
Yeah. And did we say that a classically trained chef is the owner of this?
Don't get me started on classically trained chefs because I know so many chefs that make great cuisine. Don't get me wrong, stick to your food. But the reason you like this tequila is because there's not a whole lot of character that's going to get in the way of your cuisine. So it's perfect for food pairing. It is. Casa de Dragones, that comes out of Leiros distillery. That's why all the chefs went bananas all over it, because it's an easy pair. There's no character to it, so you can pair it with anything. Chinese food, Italian food, it's easy.
Yeah, yeah.
You can be as creative. You can even dump some of the tequila in your recipe for the sauces and stuff, because it's just going to burn off.
You know what I would do with this though?
What?
I would put this in a margarita.
Oh yeah, no. Don't get me wrong. This is for mixing. Oh yeah, like a Paloma. You got a high ABV.
Or once again, like the Blanco, a Mexican mule,
right?
With some ginger beer.
There you go. It's not that it's not mixable, and it's not that it's not pairable. With food. It's just I can't even pair this with a cigar. I can't do it.
You know what else I may do with it, Mike?
What?
Shred some dark chocolate.
Yeah. For I think it's at a higher ABV. I think that you couldn't have it like an after dinner because it's too spicy. It's too peppery for me.
Yeah. But I'm thinking with my palate.
Oh yeah.
I may be able to shred some or a cinnamon stick.
Much better. Because it would blend a little bit with with the pepper. So it would make the pepper like
stick in there. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like a toddy. It's a high ABV, folks. It'll hold up to the fall. All the drinks we like in the fall, like a toddy or an apple kind of thing that comes out of in New Mexico. There's one that you make with apple cider. Like a good apple cider would probably blend very well with this.
Yeah. But there's too many other reposados that it's.
There are uses for this tequila.
Yeah.
Would I spend money on it? Probably not. I wouldn't. And obviously we can't. It's not, for me, it's not a brand of promise nominee because it's very, very one-sided, very single-faceted. And unless you know how to look for those extra layers, right, Skip, you're not going to find them.
That's right. And that's what I've been trying to say without saying it.
All one-sided, folks. So anyway, that's our take on Cambio Tequila. If you have had it, if you're watching this podcast and you're watching this video and you've had it before and you like it, tell me what you're doing with it, what you're paying for the Reposado, what you're doing with it. I mean, we're giving you suggestions on how to pair it with a cocktail. Definitely cocktail forward. I would even use this as a rub or something. Like on meats, on meat dishes, things like that.
Oh,
barbecue sauce. There's
okay.
lots of secondary ways you can use this tequila. The bubbles don't linger as much on the Repo as they do on the Blanco.
No.
But, whatever you folks are doing with it, let us know. Leave us a comment if you're watching us on YouTube. Hit first of all, subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like. Those are just the three things that we ask you for. Tell us what you're doing with it. Leave us a comment. I mean, if you're liking this stuff, and what are you paying for it? Yeah. It just because
Some
it
people
didn't
are gonna love it.
doesn't mean
Some people are gonna love it.
Oh yeah, especially if
Yeah.
you like high proofs. It
Yeah.
might be one that you'll actually dig. And again, the Blanco is a Blanco Suave, so it's aged in a barrel and then pulled out right before you have to call out a Repo. So it's just not as soft as I would expect. But
Right.
that's just me. But you know what, folks? Whatever you do, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.